The Boy in the Sun. The sun was out today. It did that a lot during the summer, as that was its time to shine, and damned if it wouldn't make the most of it. On some days the sun's presence shone through more than others, what with the clouds who couldn't help but get in the way. But now that wasn't an issue. Today the sun was the star of a one-man show on a stage of endless blue. Our yellow idol was not only out without competition, it was out with a vengeance. As if to make up for lost time, the heat from its withering glare sizzled on its way down, making the air dance nervously. It was hot, and there was empirical proof, but not with numbers. That was too easy. Instead, serving as evidence, there was the egg in the young boy's hand. His mother had tossed it to him. It was a slow, underhand throw, as overhand was still too difficult for him. He managed to catch it and gave a silent thanks to the whim of days gone by spent playing catch with little kids, even worse at the game than himself. When his mom had let go, the stuff inside was raw, but had come down steam. He shook it by his ear and listened to the lack of splashing around inside the thin white shell. Did it work? The woman leaning against the doorframe with her arms crossed in front of her chest asked. There was a knowing smile on her face, like one who had managed to successfully switch a dollar for a tooth without waking up a sleeping child. She was around 43, but claimed to look 24. It was a difficult boast to argue against due to the fact that other than some crow's feet and a few lines around the mouth, she could pass for someone in her 20s. Also, one did not argue against a woman about the exact number of times the earth had gone around the sun since she came on board. That was just common sense. Yeah, the boy shouted, jumping excitedly from one foot to the other. He'd forgotten to put his shoes on again, and even the grass was becoming warmer than what most would consider comfortable. Actually, it had passed the comfort point a while ago and was moving into territory of tear-invoking. Though, on the bright side, maybe he'd cry enough to wet the grass and quench the fire he felt around his feet. Yes, he could have just gone back inside and put on his shoes, but that would only serve as incentive for his mother to give him a long scolding about doing things unprepared. Or worse, getting that look moms gave when words weren't needed because they won and that was the end of it. You were right. It is hot. This wasn't exactly news to the boy, since his feet did have nerves which reached up to the brain like ancient men crying for the gods to save them. Thanks, Mom, he said between clenched teeth he tried to shape into a smile. You welcome, his mother laughed. But it wasn't entirely me. The god of summer did most of the work. You should thank him, especially since I'm sure he would have loved a nice steamed egg. Who wouldn't? Am I right? Her son mouthed more to himself and the egg than the only other person around capable of replying. Oh, I know. With a smile he swiveled on his burning feet and made a beeline toward the gate that led to the front yard and from there the rest of the burning world. Hey, wait, his mother called, stepping forward. Instinctively she reached out for her son's ears, because they worked better than a steering wheel when it came to directing him, but managed to stop herself at the last second. Where are you going? She frowned down at his darkening feet. Were those burns, or just the dirt he'd eventually track into the house? As tempting as it was to say something, she resigned herself to accepting his choices. Her child, the love of her life, had shown a refusal to learn the easy way. That just left the hard way. Still, she hoped that the hard way left her son with the habit of looking before he leaped, or at least learning to bring something that could catch the wind and slow him down enough so the fall would end in a sprained ankle instead of a shattered skull. The child stopped with his hand on the gate's latch. He turned to his mother with a wide grin. His left eye was twitching because pain needed to get out of the body somehow, so he grinned wider to hide it. To find the god of summer! His feet continued dancing back and forth like two idiots who lit a stick of dynamite and didn't know where to put it. Why? His mother asked, trying to hide her confusion. The boy raised the egg high over his head. To offer him this! That didn't clear anything up and only left his mother staring harder. So I can offer to trade it to him for some cooler weather. Silly boy, the woman laughed. And how will you do that, huh? Where are you even going to find him? He's all around us, Mom, the boy chirped because he couldn't talk softly anymore. I see. Then why not just offer him the egg right here, then? She pointed a work-worn hand upwards towards the glowing orb of fire high in the sky. If the god of summer is anywhere, then he's going to be here. Can't you feel him, son of mine? He's staring down at us. I like to think he's smiling, but perhaps there's anger over something you did. She narrowed her eyes. Is there something you've done? Mom, the boy whined, because his feet were close to fusing to the floor. It's not like that. Think of the god of summer as a giant. He won't notice if you're just there. It's like a bug on your back compared to one in your hair. Which are you going to detect? I've had bugs on my back, same as you, and until somebody points them out or slaps them off, they're practically not there anyways. Now, when they're in your hair, that's a different story. They're practically screaming at you, and nobody else is going to need to point them out or smack them off. So I just need to find his hair. I'm pretty sure it's over by old lady Burgess's weeping willow. The woman shook her head because of a shudder that ran up and down her spine like a couple of kids playing tag. Oh, how she hated bugs, and she hated the ones that constantly found their ways tangled in her hair most of all. She wanted to hug herself, but refused to show weakness before the boy. And what's going to happen if he won't take your egg, son? She said in the most neutral voice a person quivering on the inside could manage, without the use of drugs or alcohol. The boy paused. He hadn't gotten that far in his head. It was difficult to think when layers of feet were being left behind on scorching ground, but he was young, and so his mind was still good at making things up as he went along. Then, he raised the egg as high over his head as his short arms would allow. I'm going to throw it at his head. And with that he was gone before his mom could add any more of her 2 cents. Be careful, son, the woman called, trying her best to see the top of her boy's head from over the fence. But he was gone. Damn, that kid moves fast when he wants to. She sighed and leaned her head against the doorframe. It felt cool to her skin. Well, I better get his shoes ready. He won't be long without them. She turned back inside just in time to see her son, a pair of shoes in hands, tiptoeing towards the front door. Edited, narrated, and written by Santiago A. Orozco.